Hey, freedom lovers, it's William Moore. You are watching Beyond the Ties That Bind. Thanks for joining me for this episode. I hope everyone is having as good of a day as you can possibly have, living under the shadow of tyranny and oppression the federal government has cast over the country. Every day we hear about something new, some new tyranny, some new despotism, someone having their rights assaulted. Maybe they're not wearing a mask. Maybe they're not social distancing correctly. And then the jackbooted thugs come and attack them. They attack their freedom. They attack their rights. Our freedoms and rights are being assaulted daily, more so than ever before. So now, more so than ever before, the message of freedom needs to go forward. I have a couple housekeeping items that I want to touch on. First, if this is your first time here, or if you have not done it before, please subscribe to the channel. You'll be alerted when new content posts. Also, please like and share the videos. Liking the videos boosts me in the algorithm so we can get this message of freedom out to as many people as possible, because right now we need to get this message of freedom out to as many people as possible. There is no time in history more so than now that the message of freedom needs to be published. And I'm not talking about the freedom of that the government gives its stamp of approval to. You know, freedom only if the government permits. Freedom through permission or liberty. I'm talking about unrestrained freedom. The ability to do whatever you want to do as an individual as long as you're not harming another person or their property. The rule which we've been given as far as how to, relate to each other and live with each other. And that is, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And do not do unto others as you would not want them doing unto you. So, continue with the housekeeping items here. I get emails and messages all the time. On Facebook, I've got 6,000 followers, 5,000 friends almost. So I get a lot of messages, and now I have the YouTube channel, so I get even more messages. I try and read every message. I do read every message. I do not always respond to every message because I just don't have the time. But I appreciate your messages. I appreciate the information you send and the words of encouragement that you give me. So please do not stop writing. I will eventually get to you. I will eventually be able to write you back. Like I said, I appreciate the information people send me. I appreciate that information. A lot of times the information people send me will make its way onto the program. So please do not stop sending me information, sending me video clips. Continue doing that because I do greatly appreciate it. Appreciate each and every one of you who are watching. Now, I also have some exciting news. The show, Beyond the Ties That Bind, was named after a song by Alter Bridge, Ties That Bind. I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs. Alter Bridge is my favorite musical group. Now, in that song, the message is powerful. It talks about breaking the ties that bind. And that's what this show's all about. Breaking the ties that bind. Those ties that bind us to government. Those ties that bind us to religion. Breaking the ties to the mainstream media narrative. Breaking the ties to propaganda that the federal government wants to publish to everyone. Breaking those ties that bind. Now, sadly, I cannot use that song on any of my video intros or outros, or I will get a community guideline strike for a copyright violation. So I can't use that song. So I've been searching high and low for a song to use for my intros and outros. Well, I have found that song. It's by Rob Lundgren. And I have Rob Lundgren's permission to use that song on my intros and outros from this day forward. So on this program, I'm going to be debuting the song, which you will now hear once I get a good slick intro and outro produced. I have some really good video editing software. Now, sometimes I'm having some issues with audio and video sync, trying to get those worked out. But anyway, I have some very good video editing software, and I'm learning the ins and outs of. Once I learn the ins and outs really well, I'm going to have a new intro and outro. And I'm going to use this song by Rob Lundgren. And I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart for doing this song and for giving me the permission to use it on the program. So I'm going to debut that. I'm really excited about the music that you're going to be hearing in a little while. Because, like I stated, I've been searching high and low for some good music for the intro and outro. I cannot use the Alter Bridge song Ties That Bind. Disappointing, but I can't even use 5 seconds of it without getting a copyright violation. So, anyway, which leads me to... Oh, also, I have some new shirts in the store. I kind of let the store go for a while, but I have some new shirts in the store, and they relate to the current distress which we find ourselves within. And I will leave a link in the description. I'll drop a link there so you can go to the store, look at the shirts, and they have to do with the, let's just say, current events going on in the world today. So you can wear one of these shirts and let everyone know what you think about the mainstream narrative. Now, speaking of community guidelines, violations, and copyright strikes, and all that good stuff, I received another email from YouTube telling me that one of my videos must have offended someone. So, it said, "Hi, Beyond the Ties That Bind. They are so warm and friendly when they're getting ready to scold you. As you may know, our community guidelines describe which content we allow and don't allow on YouTube. Your video, Coronavirus and the number 33, Are We Being Played, was flagged to us for review. That means that someone was watching it and they got offended. And they reported it to YouTube. And YouTube decided to protect their little feelings and take it down. I wish I would have been there with you while you were watching this video, whoever you are who reported me, so I could have made your pain 1,000 times worse than what it was." So anyway, upon review, we determined that it violates our guidelines and we removed it from YouTube. Now, if you'll remember one of the previous videos where I was talking about videos being taken down, I've had 4 or 5 now pulled, and this is a young channel, so I must be doing something right. Anyway, we went to the community guidelines. We went through all the community guidelines. I was able to show that I was not breaking any of the community guidelines whatsoever. And I did not break any of the community guidelines with the video Coronavirus and number 33, Are We Being Played? Didn't break one of the community guidelines. Not one. But they pulled it because somebody got offended. I'm sure that someone who got offended probably drinks Corona from a 33-ounce Mason jar. So they got their feelings hurt because they drank Corona from a 33-ounce Mason jar. So what I think is really funny, you've got a lot of channels right now having videos pulled left and right. YouTube's pulling videos more than they've ever pulled videos before. Why? Because it doesn't go along with the mainstream narrative. It doesn't go along with the story that the government wants you to believe. And YouTube is tied to the hip with the government. So, you have, especially the banking cartel part of the government. It says, this removal... this removal has not resulted in a community guideline strike or penalty on your account. However, we still encourage you to review all your content and make sure it is in line with our community guidelines. Additional violations could result in strikes against your account or even lead to account termination. Now, what's funny about that is I've had 5 videos pulled, and not one of them has resulted in a community guideline strike. I have not violated their community guidelines. No one who's having videos pulled has violated community guidelines. We're just sharing truth. This is nothing more than censorship. That's why they're pulling these videos and not giving anyone a community guideline strike, because no one's violating the community guidelines. No one at all is violating the community guidelines out there who is posting against the mainstream narrative concerning the current distress we find ourselves within. The current issue we find ourselves dealing with. When people are posting something that is opposite of the mainstream narrative, they're getting a video pulled. That's nothing more than censorship. Mark Twain said censorship is telling a man he can't have a steak because the baby can't chew it. And that's exactly what YouTube is doing. Now, YouTube, all I did in that video was I drew some lines. I connected some dots. I ran multiple screenshots of headlines from across the world that all had one common denominator. That's all I did. Now, I may have pointed out that there was also a certain 33-ounce mason jar connection somewhere. So I did not violate any community standards. I did not violate the guidelines whatsoever. And there are a lot of channels that are not, one of my friends had one of his videos pulled down again the other day too. Not violating any community standards, just sharing truth, sharing things that are on the mainstream media, actually pointing out some of the things that are on the mainstream media that actually go against the narrative being published concerning the coronavirus. And this is why that they, pull videos, and these removals do not result in a community guideline strike. It's just censorship, because nobody's violating the community guidelines. It's all about censorship and taking down anything that is opposite the mainstream narrative. So, anyway, without further ado, I am going to play now the new song debuting right here on this episode of Beyond the Ties That Bind. I'm going to play that song right now for everyone to enjoy. Now, instead of it just having music and a blank screen, what I've done is I've created a little photo presentation, and this photo presentation might contain some headlines from across the world, and these headlines all have a common denominator within them. You'll see. I think it'll become clear after the first few photos, and you might just find yourself saying, wow, what a coincidence. So anyway, all I'm doing, YouTube, is sharing headlines from mainstream news outlets from across the world for everyone to see. I mean, because, during the day, the average person doesn't have time to keep up with all of the recent, and I'm not talking from when this first started, but recent headlines from across the world. So I want to provide a service for the community, for the YouTube community, in sharing these headlines with everyone, so everyone can see what's going on all across the world while you're listening to the new music, which I'll be using for an intro and outro very soon. Kick-ass tune. Love this. And thank you once again, Rob Lundgren, for giving me the permission to use this so I don't get a copyright violation. And thank you very much. Everyone, this is William Moore. Once again, watch the video. I'm just sharing some headlines with you all. You might be able to connect some dots and see that there's, similarity from headline to headline to headline. But I mean nothing by it. Nothing at all. I'm just, like I said, sharing the news with you all. Hey everyone, William Moore. for beyond the ties that bind. Until next time, peace.
Police come now, I think I'm falling. I'm holding on to what I think is safe. It seems I found the road to nowhere, and I'm trying to escape. I yelled back when I heard thunder, but I'm down to one last breath. And with it, let me sail, let me sail. Oh no, I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking maybe 6 feet ain't so